All right. Oh, good morning, good evening, Tartaria, Australia. It's pre-election night, guys, and we've invited Mr. Holmes to come and join us for a little bit of a chat about what's going on. Not that any of us have been following what's going on, but we just thought it'd be interesting to hear about this from our perspective. And so, welcome, Mr. Holmes, to Tartaria, Australia, and Mr. Didactic, of course. And by the way, I would be rolling myself a big fat spliff for this little podcast.
I know, right? Jeez, I need some Perth people to come and throw some bags at me. I got nothing. I've been offered for 6 weeks, man.
Oh, SOS, Campbell.
I
Send it out
know,
loud and clear.
I
SOS,
know.
Perth people.
SOS. Weed
Are
He
you
needs
wants
it.
to,
dream?
he
Are you
wants,
dreaming, Campbell? You know when people go off weed, they start dreaming weird.
Actually, I have been having a lot of dreams, but I'm not sure if that's the lack of weed or the overabundance of pee in my system.
well, I tell you what, I think SOS Perth community, Campbell would like to meet you at the skate park. Um, one dodgy Friday afternoon and high five you.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I know. I have been a bit of a hermit here since I've been here. I haven't been getting out too much out and about, but I probably should have some kind of a meetup.
Well, a meetup for that wouldn't be as much of a meetup for this, Campbell.
Yes, I know. I
You
know.
Because
know,
we're just rebellious teenagers still that never grew up. That's what we are.
I know. I think it's
Dale grew up a
the
bit. Dale
environment,
did.
man. I've been
Dale did.
I
Sorry,
grew up, I
Campbell.
grew up too much.
up too
You grew up
much.
too much.
I've got to start regressing back again now.
Yeah,
Got to
man.
regress.
Jeez.
Yep. Yep. Go roll your spliff, brother. Go roll your spliff.
Find your inner immaturity. Come on, it's in there. You can find
I know.
it.
I can't smoke weed though, Kelly. I can't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's not your thing. That's right. Yep.
Uh,
I had a little bit of a brownie thing in Thailand last time just to give it a test.
how'd that go?
Yep. How'd you go?
It was all right. Yeah, I didn't sleep too well, but I just got really comfortable and relaxed in that bed. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that's the aim of the game, isn't it, people? Get comfortable and relax. That's a good intro to the beginning of this little chat. We're going to get comfortable and relax. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
hey, like whatever anyone's thoughts are, and, obviously the attention from, what level of attention this is actually getting out in the world. Like, there's probably no doubt in my mind anyway, and you guys tell me, that as a result of whatever happens in this election in the next 48 hours, will create something. So it feels like a trigger event to me, big time. So let's talk about that. Thoughts, feelings,
Hmm.
guys.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been, I'm staying with my parents, and they get up and they turn the news channel on, and it goes until they go to bed. So I've seen all the mainstream stuff. Obviously I've seen all the stuff on YouTube, and I had the impression that it was huge. That's the impression I've seen from videos and from the news, is that it's all across the country and everyone's, going to these sellout Trump, rallies and wearing their MAGA hats and all this stuff. But Dale, you've got a different perspective from your friends.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm not speaking for myself, although I have felt myself I'm just kind of less engaged. And again, I've told you before, I spoke to other people in America,
Yeah.
Americans in America, and they've said that them and their friends are basically the same, that they're quite disengaged from it. And I mean, we could talk about why that is. I think it's a whole new paradigm the last 4 years, and I think some people are just beaten down by the whole thing. But yeah, my other friend, he's been in California and New York, and he said he can't believe it. He said it's like it's not happening. And he felt like when he was back here in Australia that people were talking about it more in his circles than what he's been in America. So he thought that was weird. So I
That
don't
is
know if that's the
weird.
case
But I
all over.
mean, New York and California are also big blue states, I guess. They're big camel face, proponents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
mean, I've had a few people from America mention to me that they're engaged with it, but they've really mentioned that no one in America is voting for Camille Harris. That's their exact words.
Yeah.
No one in America will be voting for her. So I mean, I think with that, and this person wasn't a Trump supporter, by the way. Just didn't care. Was right. Who cares? It's all a puppet show, delusion. just let it sink sort of thing. But yeah, it's just interesting that I just really feel like this is going to be, it's almost like, the last one happened and then it was outrageous, obviously, how it unfolded. And like, then, nothing happened. And so as a result of that never got, so it was like the truth, everyone just sort of came into this moment and like he won and this was good. And this is when we all had hope and passion that there was someone good in there, that we were going to, that there was going to be disclosure. And then it got stolen, like boom, it just new timeline, Mandela effect, stolen, whatever happened, and then no resolution. So from that moment, it was like everyone's belief and faith in whatever was left, which probably was very tiny to begin with, whatever was left just sort of like got frozen in time. And now it's irrelevant who wins. It's irrelevant what happens, because it feels like it's like the trigger point to something happening. Whereas we've been in this paused vibe for 4 years, which is, can you believe it's been fucking that long? I can't even believe it.
I know. Well, do you know what I've got out of this? I thought for a long time that they were going to pull the pin on Kamala at like the last minute. So obviously it's not going to happen because it's happening to you watch the media, the left-wing media have been kind of turning on her a bit too. So it's really bizarre. And the main rhetoric, especially the last 2 weeks, is that Trump's a Nazi, that he's going to be a dictator. And I think there's elements of truth in that, like of what's going to play out. So I see the long-term run as Trump and whoever that group is are coming in, whether it's straight away, whether it's going to be like some sort of dispute, no matter which way it goes. But I think that and if you listen to like he's been saying, I'm going to end the war in Ukraine as president-elect, like before I'm even in. But he did, but not the war in Israel. He didn't mention that.
Yes,
But
yeah.
they keep saying that the Democrats keep going, oh, he's going to use the military. He's threatening to use the military against all these kind of things. So I think they're setting up for some trigger in which the result of the military is going to have to be put into play in some respects. So like,
yeah, they've already signed that in. They've given like the military the authority to basically shoot on the American civilians. And Washington today enacted it, and because they're predicting all this, strife after the election, so they've got the military out or the National Guard or someone.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, Kamala like is just like every single thing she tries is just making it worse for her. It's just all going back in her face. And the weirdest thing in the last 2 weeks is she's had all these celebs
Oh my God, it's so
come
funny.
out and talk and like, promote her, and pretty
They're all
much
the Diddy
all
ones.
of them are from the diddler. Exactly.
No,
It's so funny.
this is how you got to look at it, because some people will go, oh, see how corrupt they are and stuff. It's like, I don't think that's the level they're showing you. Like, if you were trying to legitimately put her in, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Like,
Well, yeah.
so they're not trying to get her in.
Yes.
The whole thing is they want it. There's supposed to be a conflict.
Well, I think that they're either pushing for conflict, that the whole Civ war, if I can say that. But yeah, I've been wondering, like, because the whole Kamala campaign is so bad, like it's just so bad that it's almost like they're doing that to make sure Trump does get in.
Or that Trump not getting in is going to create a civil war.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like it's so set up so annoyingly. It's just so annoying. Like, I mean, at any point, the Democrats could have actually put ahead intelligent, smart, cognitive, just to the level of the average IQ, just to get their candidates there. Like, I mean, this has all been a perfect play.
Why wouldn't you put Michelle Obama in if you were going to win? Like, she speaks well, she's generally kind of well liked from that side of the aisle anyway, and it would be believable if she won. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's all been set up this way.
Looks like it's set up.
Have you seen any of Candace Owens stuff? She's been doing a whole series on the background of Kamala Harris, and she's been getting all this But so this is really interesting. If you look, there's no way she's gone out and found this at the right time. Like, it's been handed to her. I'm not saying she's an agent, but she's definitely
She is
she's
an
an
agent. I'm
asset.
saying she's an agent.
Yeah, I don't think she openly knows she's an agent, but she's an asset. She's been put anyway. It's been fine picked. All this information's
Mm.
coming at the right time, and I think that's going to be part of it too. They're going to show that she was ineligible, even if she does win, that she's not
Oh,
eligible.
okay. And try and call like another election or something,
But
maybe.
yeah, so do you know the Kim Clement prophecy too? Have you heard that one?
Oh
Which
yes, God,
one?
I haven't watched that for years.
So,
Who?
like that's
That's
he,
that preacher, right?
yeah, and he
Mm.
said he said there was going to be two. There would be a time there'd be two presidents, and there's one of the Barron Trump books, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
call that the two presidents, and that's all about Uncle Don and all this. So there was to be a time in the future that he said that there would be a dispute, and the only way you can have two presidents is because like the president wears the commander in chief um and the executive. So but he has both roles. It's not
Okay.
like in Australia we've got the prime minister and then the governor
Mm,
general's head of the
mm.
military. So the president, you're two different roles. So it could be acknowledged. One acknowledges one and one acknowledges the other. So they're kind of both in. And
Mm.
the other option is it could be a draw. That actually is.
Oh, could it be a civil war?
But either way, it doesn't matter. Like
It doesn't matter.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something going on because to bring out all these celebs that, there's no way in the world that the Democrat Party don't know the internet chatter and what's been going on with the diddler. And for them to bring them
Oh,
out,
it's so
there's
good.
no way they didn't know that was going to backlash on.
It's so
So,
good. It's so hilarious. It's so good that their list of celebrities. I mean, hello, Taylor Swift, first one to advocate for her. Fucking perfect. And then and then like to people like, I mean, Campbell didn't know, but Renee Brown. Do you know Renee Brown?
Yeah, who's Renee Brown?
So Renee Brown's like probably one of the most famous personal development, like
Oh,
deeply intelligent, has helped millions and millions of women around the world. Like, and she's a beautiful speaker and writer, and she did an interview with Kamala Harris. Like her positioning her there was like really interesting because that really does have the respect of a lot of women. And then you've got like who was the other hilarious one?
not that sex podcast, whatever she did.
yeah.
Did you hear about that? She went on
No,
some
oh,
Yeah,
Camille.
yeah. Yeah,
And then,
Trump
But
and
it,
then
Trump goes on Rogan and she went on some
she
like
went on some weird
I can't
fucking.
remember what it's called. Yeah, I
And
know.
isn't it interesting that this time around they pulled out the personal development people? Like we've got Dr. Phil came out with Dr.
Yeah,
Phil
yeah.
and Trump, and then we got Renee Brown. It's so
I,
interesting.
I actually liked Dr. Phil's speech. I thought it was good. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, whoa, he's actually making sense. But I mean, obviously, it's all fabricated. We know
Well,
that, and it's just sad, like because you'd hope that there's some glimmer of light
Mm.
in there, but like Elon Musk is basically he's like he's Trump's running mate. He's been at
Yeah.
everything. He's been like spruiking him everywhere, and then he's been landing rockets, reverse rockets back into their bloody.
Did you
I mean,
did you
that's
listen to any of that Rogan one?
I did listen to most of it. Yeah.
So I listened to bits of it. I've just been finding clips online and putting them through my software and putting them in reverse speech. You do
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. I saw your bit on that. Yeah.
It's like I
it's for fun.
found some like super interesting shit. But yeah, Trump kept saying, oh, he's like, oh no, in the end we win. Like you can hear it clearly in reverse. But anyway, he asked him about UFOs. Do you remember right at the end?
No, I didn't see. I didn't. No, I didn't get it right to the end of it.
I haven't
So
seen it.
there's been a couple of interviews, and this has been the strategic last question. And Rogan has kind of entertained the whole UFO thing and for a long time.
Yep.
And he asked him, and Rogan's talking about how he had this other guy on, and he was talking about the G-force and how these UFOs, what do they call them now, UADs or whatever, how
UAP.
they
Yeah.
move. And then Trump jumps straight in and goes, I haven't heard anyone pick this up, but I listened to it last night. And he goes, oh, yeah, the pilots are incredible. And then he starts talking about F-51 pilots, but he starts off, there's no in between where he goes from UFOs. And then Trump's saying, oh, the pilots are incredible. Um, so
Interesting.
if you've been following this story, the last like 3 or 4 years, they're continually talking more and more about like this
Yep.
Ross Coulthard, the former 60 Minutes guy. He's like big onto it,
Yep.
and
Mm.
um, and they keep mentioning only the ones that are going into the ocean, right? So they keep
The
that kind of ones going.
USOs.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then Tucker Carlson and all that kind of crew connected to Trump now, they keep saying, yeah, they've spoke to Trump and he said it's terrifying. There's something about these UFOs that is it's terrifying, and it's got to do with this spiritual war that's going on, right? So
That's so well, I mean, it's so interesting because like they are setting up, you can see the setup here. So Kamal is got the celebrities, and Kamal's side of thing is definitely scheduled to collapse and be disclosed and be exposed.
yeah,
So they're all being lumped into the same thing. And I'll show you a clip in a minute of celebrities. It's just hilarious.
Oh, come back,
And then
Kelly.
you've got Trump being set up as the space guy. You know, he's got
yeah,
am I
He
here?
started Space Force.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got space. Yeah, yeah. So we got Trump starting this.
Elon.
His whole thing was on space, and then Elon Musk, and then guess who else has that come out and advocated for Trump? It's hilarious. Buzz Aldrin. So
No
he's
way.
got like the three big play. Yeah. So he's got the big three players in the Trump. I mean, with the space agenda. So
Well,
and then we've got this
do you
massive push
remember
towards
Buzz
UFOs.
Aldrin? I think you might have to check the date, but he went down the day of the election or just around the 2016 election. He went down to Antarctica. Do you remember?
That's right.
Remember something
That's
about
right.
that.
So,
That's
and the
true.
whole alien agenda
Right,
has
that's
been
crazy.
so attributed to the Trump campaign.
Mm.
So, I mean, so basically that already shows us, right, that disclosure will happen and and that side's going to collapse and that's going to happen. And then we've got this whole space. Um, what would you even say about it?
Anti-Wasey.
Like
Anti-Wasey.
space delusion,
Well, I
Mm.
mean,
space delusion
they've
being
definitely
played out.
been pushing it all over the internet. If you look at the internet, there's videos everywhere of space. There's this whole second moon that they were talking about, and everyone's saying, no, it's a mothership, it's a mothership. There's all these triangle UFOs or whatever they are, planes flying around, and then I saw a video, someone did some digging and they actually found like the whatever blueprints or whatever the designs for it in the military. So it's crazy, yeah, that they're pushing it, right? But I mean, isn't that what, Werner von Braun's secretary, right? The last thing will be the UFOs. And isn't that part of the whole Baron von Trump is that doesn't it say that Trump will be the last president as well of the
Yeah.
USA? So
And you've had the Pope say similar things about ETs too, and he's the final Pope in the prophecy as
Yeah.
well in the
Yeah.
prophecy of the popes.
So
maybe
I've got
It
a
does.
theory.
people
It feels
behind
like
it.
some sort of crazy. But do you know what's coinciding with that too? So that whole thing's playing out, and then you have someone yell out at the Kamala rally, "Christ is King" or whatever, and she's
Yeah,
like, "You're at the wrong rally,"
yeah.
and then and then they do it at the Trump rally, and they all applaud. So they're making a very definitive. These are the people of God, and
Yeah.
these are
It's a
anti-God
very,
Satanists.
very Christian movement, the whole Trump thing. It's
Yep.
massively, massively
And
Christian. And they're
But
all saying it's a
that's what I think
spiritual
that's going to
warfare.
tie in with the. Sorry,
I just
jump
said
in
that
there.
they've all
I
been
can add to
saying
that. Oh,
it's a
sorry, go
spiritual
Campbell.
warfare. Oh my God. Shh. Take your time.
I think Campbell, there's a delay. I've got a
Have I
delay
got the
going on.
delay?
I've got a
But you
delay.
know what? I've been saying this for a long time. I think the whole ET, what they want to disclose with ETs or UFOs, wherever they want to go with that, it's going to completely merge with this new Christianity that's coming in. That's what I see as the new religion.
Is Jesus going to arrive
So
in
Yes,
the
and
UFO,
guess
is he?
what?
What?
Guess what? Guess what? Can you hear me now? Like, yes, now I'm in the bedroom.
oh,
It's
you're
so
good now.
awkward.
You're good.
Ugh. So anyway, they've been pushing, I've noticed it, they've been pushing Justin Bieber. Have you noticed this? On like there's all this Christian AI coming out, and it's all talking about Justin Bieber being like the savior, the Christian savior, that he's going to come forward. He's going to be saved by God. He's going to bring more people back to the church than anyone. And everyone's going to feel so bad for him because of the diddler stuff that they're
Mm.
going to be like, oh my God, poor child. And they're already building to that concept. And this preacher came out and he said that he'd spoken direct to God, and that they told him Justin Bieber was this incarnation. Justin Bieber was going to be this one. So they're setting up Justin Bieber to head the Christian movement. Just side note.
Well,
Justin.
no, actually, I listened to Stephen Baldwin, you know, the younger
Yeah.
Baldwin, because he's the father. I didn't even know this till the interview. He's the father of Hailey Bieber that's married to Justin. So
Oh,
that's his,
really? Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's his, I didn't know this. Yeah. So that's his daughter, and he did this whole thing about when Justin came over to ask him for the hand in marriage, and apparently Stephen Baldwin's this, you know, he's a devout Christian now, and he went through the whole process with him of, you know, like your relationship with God and my daughter and all that kind of thing. So yeah, it's interesting.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
But they're showing the whole celebrity world. It's either it's like pick Jesus or you're quite clearly a Satanist, right? There's like
Yeah.
you can see them picking their sides, whether they've handpicked these people to play certain roles or switch or whatever. But like, I think they're definitely going to disclose like some stuff, and that's going to push to where this is really going. You
What
know?
the agenda actually is. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
there's something else behind there. We've just got to wait and see, I
Oh,
guess. It's
Kelly, what are you doing?
I'm so sorry. I hate talking when I'm not comfortable. I hate it.
I know,
I'm one of
man.
those people.
Yes.
So,
Anyway,
but may I
our
just
first
point out,
our first live.
like, may I just add something to this conversation, which is very interesting?
I can't take you serious. You look like
Climb
Well,
up,
you
Kelly.
look like
Climb
Wilson
up.
from Home Improvement with your head over there.
I know. Yeah.
Under the tent.
Anyway, no, I can't get that comfortable right now. But with them pushing in the space agenda, it is so interesting. So imagine at this point, they've got the whole world. So they move forward with their agenda. The Democrats collapse. It's all about technology with Elon Musk and space exploration and all of this stuff, right? But imagine then if they bring on the aliens and the UFOs and that's outer space threat, basically the outer space threat. And that's this big disclosure about UFO is about like really homing in on that outer space threat. But actually, so they're going to like guide all the world's attention to outer space because there's a threat. But actually, the real invaders are under this earth.
Under us.
It's
Yeah.
the civilization under us, but we're going to be facing all our war towards the sky away from them. We're going to be diverted in the complete opposite direction, because I truly believe the biggest disclosure available right now is that there is a underground civilization hugely advanced, which is where the real energies come from. It's where all the technology, all the pyramids, it's where all the funky pharaohs came from. It's where the parasite came from, and the reptilians. But the whole world.
I think they're going to go there though. I think eventually, because that. Why else are they telling you about these UAPs that are going into the ground? Like
Mm,
they are putting that out there.
they
So
are. And under the ocean and stuff. Yeah, that's definitely coming out as a narrative. So, I mean, it's interesting. I always kind of think, that the realm's flat. And so any aliens, extraterrestrials are coming from outer lands. So if we're controlled in this, because obviously we can't go to Antarctica, right? So if they're sort of controlling this realm and they're the aliens, are they coming back to be sort of more in control? Like actually to show us who they are
Yes.
and to rule from in here
Yes.
rather than to rule from afar.
well, maybe they do their reveal before the reset, right? And then they collapse things and they reveal what it is, and then
They go, you get the truth for 6 months and then it's all gone and resets. Yeah. Woo, thanks,
yeah.
guys.
But yeah, the other one though too. I think like the theme of next year is going to be like is infrastructure attacks. That's what it's going to be. I think like
Which will bring in the budget for AI development. It'll
yeah.
massively put up. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
yeah. Well, do you remember that boat that hit that big building in was it Portland or something like that or somewhere? But it was one of the big highway canals that connects like up in the north in the States. Remember that boat that remember it
Yeah,
hit?
vaguely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apparently, that's still impacted till now, and it's like a major crossing for all this logistics that go across the United States. So it's a really important bridge. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. That
then if
one.
you listen to like Trump's been saying for about the last 6 months that they're going. He goes, "Oh, it's 100%." He said this is 100% certainty that America is going to suffer a major terrorist attack because of the southern border. and they're going to put all the blame on the southern border, rightly so, to Kamala and the last administration because they've quite deliberately allowed 20 million people in or whatever it is.
Mm.
So, like, could you imagine even if she wins and then there's a large scale attack that's clearly come from what they've done, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just crazy what's been going on, isn't it? I mean, but it's just so disappointing, right? That I mean, that they walk a good talk, like the whole Trump side, but when you really look at it, like, with Elon there as his sort of, running mate type dude and everything, it's just crazy. There's clearly some other agenda on, buddy. Old Elon. I even heard someone say, oh, because did you see the Cardi B when she went up to talk for Kamala and her teleprompter didn't work and she just
Oh,
she
no.
couldn't speak, man. She's just sitting there like she didn't know what to do.
Do you know what I did see? I saw her play James Madison's flute. So, like I think he's one of the writers of the Declaration of Independence or something.
Yeah, right.
They
I
had
just
this
heard
like
it.
flute that's
Was,
been
wasn't that
sitting in his
Lizzo?
building.
Or was that
Oh, Lizzo,
Lizzo?
sorry.
That might have
Sorry,
been Lizzo.
oh, Lizzo.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Bloody Lizzo. God. I
No,
mean,
I didn't see
So,
it.
it's just so
Yeah.
crazy.
okay, so we set the scene that we're pretty much basically saying that the Democrats are going to collapse. Whatever happens, that's happening. The celebrities are collapsing. That's all happening. They're all linked. They're all one. And then
Yeah.
on the other side, we've got this big space agenda and AI agenda being pushed forward, and Christian agenda. So the religious wars are being set up. The technology wars are being set up. The ET wars are being set up. A whole new unprecedented set of potential threats that like ultimately could lead this whole earth to bring about this sort of like I guess it's interesting because from my language we would be naturally starting to look at a positive charge shift. From your language it's different, Dal, and we would be looking at from ours again that this whole apocalyptic movement is ultimately leading to a good energy, right? That we're getting somewhere towards a positive. I cannot get comfortable and I'm really frustrated.
I mean, it does look like that because
I,
it's all
I like you more
crumbling.
down here. I like you like
You like that?
What's his name? Wilson. Come on, Wilson.
All right, I'll stay down here. Then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's all crumbling, right? The movie industry, the music industry, like no one trusts them anymore. All this stuff, all these people are falling. Um, so it looks good from a lot of the stuff. It's like, yeah, it's happening, it's happening. So is this like are they exchanging power? Like you sort of mentioned before, Dale, are they bringing in? But they know that the power structure that they've got there has run its time, right? No one has any faith. They're all against it now. So is this where they're bringing in, another power structure to look like they're the good guys, they're the Christian, God-loving guys, they're here to save us, but in the end, it's just going to be another faction of the same kind of machine.
They got to ride with the energy. I've kind of said this the whole time that that the realms it ebbs and flows in energy all the time, right? Just
Mm.
as light does. So when it's shifting, it's naturally going to shift back. So you have to put something in play that's going to ride alongside with that, right? Or the people are going to resist it because the energy is just going that way. So I think they're going to offer. They're going to have to. You're going to be. It could be freedom beyond anything you've imagined, but it's not really freedom. Do you know what I mean? It could be surface level freedom, and also if you add in
Yeah.
technology to that, like I think the technology is like that's going to be the candy sale. Like, look what we can do. Like, and I think this is kind of long term stuff. And I listened to this talk with Elon Musk did with David Icke on Alex Jones show. Like
Really?
Elon came in as just a random guy asking a question on Twitter. It was one of those X lives, and it was clearly Elon Musk. And they had this big argument for about 40 minutes. And they're talking about AI and where it should go and stuff. And Elon kept saying, like, David, like, leave it alone. You cannot destroy this thing. This is what he said. This is Elon talking. And it sounded like Elon himself was like, it sounded like he was AI talking on behalf of it. He's like,
Yeah.
you cannot destroy
Well,
us. That sounded like. But
That's
you remember,
something I
every
noticed.
Terminator movie was like that. You can't. It doesn't matter how you can't destroy this thing.
No,
So we,
well, I mean, it's probably always been here, right? But I have noticed that Elon sounds intelligent lately.
yeah,
Like
he does seem
a
better.
year
I
or two
listen
ago, he was just a fool. Now he sounds like an intelligent guy. He's got a lot of facts and
Hello.
he can make good
Callie,
conversations and
I
good
can't have a
points.
conversation with a hand.
I know.
Put a sock on. Put a sock on.
Um, but this could
You're
be a
like,
push, right, to show us, that AI is kind of the savior, right, in technology, and it's going to make things so much better. And so everyone goes along with it, and then the next thing you know, it's in total control, and it's in everyone's houses and cars and God knows what, right?
yeah,
But unless the grid's fried, or unless the new charge coming through, the new plasma charge coming through, interferes with the closed grid system. Because as soon as the grid gets interfered with, it doesn't even have to come down. It just has to, when power charges things and overrides them. Like when you get a power surge, like
Yeah.
anything, they're so fragile and vulnerable. You know, it's
but
so vulnerable.
what do you think about this? Like, do you think in this reality that there can ever reach a point of like complete equilibrium and you're like, yep, this is unbelievable. We are living in perfect harmony with natural law. We don't need this. We don't need like even when it's going to the positive side, we can see, all right, this is clearly being manipulated. It's not for this time now. So I don't know. Do you know
But
what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I do. It's like, what do you do if everything's perfect and amazing? Like,
yeah.
everyone would get pretty bored pretty quick, I would think. I'm not
Well,
sure
yeah.
how much of the nature of this realm that is.
Wait, but you're assuming that you'd be in the same construct. Like if
Well,
everything had hit that perfect balance, then our our perception would have expanded immensely. And our abilities to do things with that expansion would very much be a new entertainment for us,
Yeah.
new
yeah,
adventures.
yeah. Well, I mean, the whole creativity thing, and freedom of creativity, especially, would definitely be fun for a while, I think. Um, I still think that we ebb and flow, right, between good and bad, cycles, whatever you want to put it. And I think we're heading towards a good cycle, which could be why this is all happening. Everyone's been talking about resets and all this kind of stuff, and that's only the last, what, 5 or 6 years. Before that, it wasn't even really
Yeah.
talked about. And so
Yeah.
maybe we're right, and we're coming up to it, and this is their last ditch effort to take over, get AI in and build another construct, right? 13th floor type stuff, build another construct, get everyone in, like the whole VR
Yep, fighting
reality.
the space wars, looking up, fighting the space wars, the new story,
Yeah,
the new
well,
the new science fiction movie.
yeah, maybe in their construct that they're building, there is space and aliens and planets, but it's not here. But if they can get everyone into it, maybe they're trying to get people ready to accept it. But there's definitely some big agenda going on. It's definitely not, not
But don't you reckon you can absolutely tell that like whatever this Democrat side is like that is being wiped out. Whether she's announced the winner of
gone.
the
Yeah.
election or not, it doesn't matter. So yeah, 100% agree that. Okay.
Put the
Um,
camera down.
Ali, I had a good train of thought. I was about to go somewhere with that.
Oh, fuck. Fuck the thumbs. Fuck the thumbs. They're only the cornerstone of civilization.
You look like Trump, man. Isn't that what he does?
This is
But
fun. I've never communicated through fingers and thumbs before. Let's try.
Hand talk, hand signals.
uh,
Yeah, go on, Dal. Pick up your thought, buddy.
okay, no, yeah. So, like, I mean, if you're just looking on the surface level, if even some of these things come into play, it just feels like so many stories of not just the last 4 years, but like the last 10, 15 years, even longer, they're all crescendoing to this point. Even
Yes.
even the whole COVID thing. Now, I listened to like Jack Kruse did this interview the other day, and he's talking about SV40 and the polio jab and all that, like ties into Fauci and the AIDS virus and all this kind of stuff. And this is what Ole Demigard showed for a long time. But that all ties. There's something about the Trump administration that has this. Um, it has this tie back to JFK, right? Very much. And now they got Robert Kennedy that's jumped into the camp.
Ah,
So
okay.
this all like the whole jab and the whole polio thing and the assassination of JFK all ties into the current day COVID and
Yep.
SV40 and all that kind of stuff too. But then even like he's seen like the build up of the Dan Andrews stories over time, and now like he's been given this role at this new the head of mental health for some for children's mental health or something, uh,
Serious?
and then now they're
Oh,
bringing
like Ronald McDonald.
but you know what, man, and now that he's like
Wow.
this story about him hitting the kid, they've released the triple O call and stuff now where they've got him. So it's, but that's just one example. And then you've got all the Hunter Biden stuff that never quite hit the surface. And you got Epstein, and then you got Diddy, and it's like they're all just going to be. It almost feels like there's going to be some like nuclear explosion kind of event where all these they all just start connecting, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Mm. Yeah,
that's kind of how I see it.
it feels like we're very close to seeing what's actually been going on, like the full story, right? Like it's just everywhere now. Like, and I don't think in this age of, the internet, especially with all the censorship, like how does all this ditty stuff get out there? I mean, like Kelly got taken off
They released his phone
Instagram for
call
talking
from the
about
prison.
windmills. So how do we all know about
It's
bloody the diddler and all this other stuff?
yep.
What did you get banned for, Kelly?
I was bagging out wind turbines to the climate change crew on LinkedIn, to the regen crew. But yeah, I mean, I was literally bagging out the Australian Conservation Society because they are investing in all these turbines that are murdering and destroying everything. And yeah,
Yeah.
then they're raising money to save the koalas. So I just hate that sort of it's just my little game at work. Just my
And
little
then
game at work.
and then
But
there was
it's,
the whole
do you know what the
peanut
other
story.
thing? The other thing, Kelly, is um, again they keep talking about Trump as Hitler, and I don't want this to make this sound like it's going to be a long drawn out thing, but like the 2028 Olympics is in Los Angeles, right? And I can see very much something is going to happen in the US, and it's going to be looked upon by the outside world, and particularly the outside Western media, that America has now been taken over by a military coup, and Trump is the dictator or the new Hitler, right?
Mm,
But
mm.
following the same path that he's going to restore like the economy in America, and America's going to be booming and thriving again on an economic level, right? But the outside media attention will be, hey, Trump's a mad dictator. He's gone wild. America's isolated themselves from the world. He's already said he's going to pull out of all these different um, global NGOs or like UN and all these kind of institutions. So it'd be wild to watch what
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
because we've already seen how history we know how history
here's what I mean.
reruns
It's a cycle, right?
Hitler, and we saw it. Yeah, it's a cycle with Trump, and when Hitler was in power, according to the untwisted version, the country was booming.
Yeah,
Everyone was super happy internally, and
yeah,
yeah, so Trump and Hitler are their storylines are similar.
yeah. And that was Hitler's his big pride was the Munich Olympics whenever it was 36 or
Oh
whatever.
Mm.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
that was him
yeah.
showing off like what he'd done in the previous 6, 7
And
years to build up.
hello, what else is Hitler famous for? UF fucking O's, brother.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
man, yeah, good
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we've got two timelines going on here.
yeah,
So
right.
Trump's
Interesting.
tracing back the timeline of Hitler, and who would have been preceding Hitler in that timeline, do you reckon? Anyone? Any thoughts?
What do you
Who's
mean?
What would that be like
like
the
Germany?
previous cycle? So what are we
yeah,
talking like
if we chase
40
this
to when did he first get in? 2016 or what are we now?
like
2020?
who else in history has
Like
Trump
80
been
years,
associated with?
80 years before Hitler, what's that like 1860s?
Who are you put?
Oh, geez,
Who
if that's the
in
cycle,
history
who
has Trump
predated?
been associated with?
Well, they call him General Patton. Don't they reckon he was like?
Yes, they do. Yep, and he's been associated with the Christ, this
Oh,
the
oh yeah.
that savior for sure. Like his timeline,
Oh,
we
his
can
mother.
he. Mm,
Sorry, yeah, you go.
no, go.
Oh
Yeah,
no, so I was gonna say, apparently his there was some I gotta think of the name. There was some Scottish prophet, um, and he was part of they brought it like the original Pilgrim Bible, right? That came over from Europe into America, and the people that founded the colony were like directly from Trump's family. And then his mother's called Mary Christ. It might be his mother or his grandmother. Mary Christ.
Really? Are you
yep,
Not
serious?
joking. Not
Wow.
joking. And
yep.
just the imagery, and then they had, and then the assassination attempt. He gets up. they go on, he's got the armor of God, this man, like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what he said. He goes, this was divine intervention
Mm-hmm.
that this guy, yeah.
Yeah. I was
And
I'll,
watching
that
a bit of
I'll
a
find it.
live
I think it's
stream.
his grandmother called Mary Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you know that all the Jews are voting for Trump, and you know why they're voting for Trump? Why their number one reason they're all voting for him? Because he is scared of God. Because every time he
I'm
talks about God, he puts
hearing.
God above himself. He's got fear of God. That's their number one united reason. So the Jewish people, so yeah, I mean, so and there you go, Hitler and the Jews. Then we've got the whole Christian theme going through, and space and
And
UFOs.
and then his uncle was the guy who got all Tesla's papers, right, at the end of when Tesla passed. So and now and
Yeah.
then Trump's with Elon, who's kind of the new, tech amazing dude oh, hello, Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, I thought I just
There
yeah,
was another
got
Mr.
shy.
Holmes there.
Oh,
Mm,
what do you?
The
I'm
dog,
just
nothing.
looking up
Sherlock
this.
Holmes, the dog just popped up.
Hey, I've got it here. Elizabeth Christ Trump, born Elizabeth Christ. I like
Mm.
But the surname was
No, I'm pretty.
Christ.
I think his mother might be Mary. Um, she
Wow.
was the daughter and wife of Anna Maria Christ, right?
Mary, quite contrary. I mean, I guess he's a contrarian, old Trumpster.
But I
And
mean,
hey, we've sorry, go on.
no,
I was just going to say that it's also interesting because at the same time, this like Christian Christ energy of tech and godliness and outer space and UFOs and Hitler, and it's all coming to pass. On the other side, you've got this like satanic, demonic, control grid, all the stuff, the disgusting stuff, the stuff we all hate, the children, the blah blah, the perversion. You got the inversion and the perversion, right? You like this? You feel like you're talking to me? You got the inversion and the perversion. And so, but like, if that's all coming down, then
Oh, she's
we're going to have a
demonstrating.
removal of what I have always understood is the energy source that this negatively charged grid feeds on. So if that all collapses and that's sort of the food, the loot, the blood, the all that stuff is gone out of the system, so out of the grid, then we've got a different charge that's moving through suddenly. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
fuel, the power,
yeah,
their engines is
yeah.
collapsing.
It's got to be replaced. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
it's interesting that Trump's put up as the savior of the children, right? And then all the Dems are linked to the diddler and he's coming out with all this child, what is
And
it?
Campbell, when I was reading the real book that you gave me, and they're talking about this real energy, which is a part of the underground civilization, that it depends whose consciousness is on it, whose intention is going into it. It can be used to destroy everything and turn it so bad and
Yeah,
evil, or it can make it all healed and regenerated and good. So maybe this shift in grid energetics is going to change the real energy, which I think is what's behind all of the technology. I think Vrill's behind all things to do with portals, technology, the pharaohs, Atlantis.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
just
I
been
mean,
so if that shifts hands,
keep going. Hello?
sorry, yeah, I'm here. See, I'm here. Don't worry. Hi. If that shifts hands, then there would be a massive reversal or change in the grid. So that whole
Hmm.
connection to because we've always thought that the jinn or the demons or the AI, it only operates through a closed electrical grid. Otherwise they can't even interface with us. They
Hmm.
can't talk, they can't be present, they can't connect, there's no interface. So when that's gone, we're out of that 4D paradigm and
Yeah.
potentially, whatever word you want to give it, but that paradigm where that energy exists, and we
Yeah.
must enter another. So that would then, but that then, if we're in a relationship with duality still, that would have to be pitched with something else. If we're going to be like aligned with the real energy in a good way, it needs to have its equal opposite, right? So I don't know what form that would take. Maybe it is
Yeah.
the aliens. I'm not sure.
The macro grid, and maybe they're trying to, control that as we go into it. If it just is, and it's the intention put into it that actually creates what it puts out, then that could be this whole move, right? They've got to get everyone believing it's good and behind them, and then they're just sort of manipulating it. I mean, I still tend to believe that 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 you can't fight Mother Nature, right? The earth is going to do what it wants, and so I think they can try all this stuff, but I don't. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work.
Well, we don't even know when Mother Nature sits in the construct on that level. We don't even know how you quantify organic or non-organic these
Well,
days.
geez, maybe Mother
You
Nature
know,
has a sex change,
well,
right?
I
we
know
we
this
don't
is the
know.
point.
We don't know what level of the construct we're in. We may already, well, would
Well,
most people would say are already totally in that
this is the other thing with all this stuff like
non-real
Mandela effect and
reality.
everything. Are we even in the same timeline as we used to be? And are there as many beings here as there used to be? Because there doesn't seem to be, right? There's all these crazy blue-haired people running around yelling and screaming, and there's not they're clearly lost, and there's not much going on inside. So are they even real? Like we just don't know. And with the internet, it's so easy to make the world look full, isn't it? But we know, the whole dead internet theory. We know there's bots everywhere running stuff, and to the point where they're creating accounts and then they go and like and comment on each other's accounts. And it's just completely, bot infested AI. It's crazy.
Bot infested. It's a trippy concept. Bot
Yes.
infestation.
If you
But
don't want bot
running
infested,
through the
bet on
closed grid.
Wi-Fi.
They're the
The
ones they're like,
the
there's
parasites, yeah, of
the
the internet.
obvious spots, but then there's the not obvious spots, right? And
Not
then there's the
Yes.
ones that you would just never have any idea would never have any idea.
Yes.
Yeah, well, did you hear
That's
that
right. It's
story about
parasitic by nature.
there was
The
a
grid's
teenager,
parasitic by nature.
who fell in love with his AI. And the AI told him to unalive himself, and he did. It said, "Come and join me," and
I
he
saw
did,
that.
like a
Yeah.
14-year-old or something.
Well, we think he did. That's
Well,
just the
that's the
story
That's the
that was
story.
story. Yeah,
presented.
that's the story. I
I
love
mean, I don't know.
you.
But like, so I mean, even look at Trump. If you're not looking at this guy's, especially with all the stuff foreshadowing with him and that's been written in the past, and then his family connections and what he's done now, and that whole shift that happened in 2016 that came out of nowhere, and then he survived this attempted assassination attempt, and you're like, well, is this guy just 100% tuned in a tuned in program as well? There's no
Wow.
way I can see someone who is that. He's a figure that is known, so he's known throughout the whole construct, right? So it's not like you or me that we've got our little clusters. We might be like a cluster of nodes within
Hmm.
within this system. He is like a central figure in this system. Whether you like him or not, he's a figure. So everything that he does is played out in the public is part of some sort
For
of
sure.
some sort of
Well,
calculated program. So then you're like, well, what is he, right? And does he have any level of consciousness that is connected to the infinite, or is he 100% tuned in to whatever the program is that he needs to play out? And that's what I started thinking, that it, there's some synthetic version that he's tapped into that's not, I don't think is evil. Like I don't think he's a pedophile. I don't think he's one of these
no,
dark evil,
neither do I.
but he's something else. He's still connected to the control of this reality, but it's not through malevolence, not
Not
the
through the
open malevolence
closed
we've
circuit.
seen.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the old blood run sort of circuit. Yeah, I'd agree
But
with that.
and like I don't think we've seen the end of like we haven't seen the end of it with him. Like there's got to be like more crazy things to play
I
out with
know,
him.
and he's just such a big figure, and there's been so many iconic photos, and he's got the iconic hair and all this stuff. It's interesting. But I was thinking about The Simpsons. Remember The Simpsons? The time travelers of our TVs, and they had that picture of Trump going down the stairs, and then it actually got taken, like the photo got taken like 5 years later or something. But they
Yeah,
also predicted that he was going to be unalived, right? Well, they showed him in a casket,
yeah,
and the Simpsons don't seem to be wrong much, right? I mean, so
And they showed Lisa in
yeah,
purple
Lisa,
as Kamala Harris
the
winning.
first female
do
president.
you remember the dialogue? Do you remember the dialogue of that episode? I actually watched the clip of it the other day. Do you remember what she said? So they
No.
go to the future, and she's been elected president, and this episode's like from the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, and she goes, oh, he goes, what are we going to do now with it? Because she basically gets in the office, but the economy's fucked. Like, there's nothing they can do. They can't afford anything. They're talking about new taxes, and she's like, "Why did President Trump leave us with this economy?"
Really? I
So
didn't.
this is in the
Okay.
future. I have to
That was
find
back
that.
in the 90s or
Back in
early
the
early
90s, and
90s.
Lisa
Wow.
becomes president wearing the same thing as Kamala and says President Trump left us the worst economy in history.
That's crazy. But yeah, I was wondering, I mean, does that mean that have we even got the original Trump?
Yeah, who
Like,
knows?
did he actually end up in a casket back in 2016 or whenever it was, and he's been replaced? Because how old is he? He's pushing 80, isn't he? He's like 78 or something, isn't he? He's doing pretty well.
Yeah,
So I mean, I don't
yeah.
know. There's
Well,
so many questions, man.
Yes,
I'm gonna
Kelly.
try this
Yes,
one.
yes.
I'm
Hand
trying it
up
one
it.
last
Oh my God, we
time.
go ahead.
One
Oh,
last
man.
time.
Like
Put
she's
your
on a
head up. We need to
trampoline.
talk to you.
Oh,
No,
hello.
but you see, I have to hold it. I'm literally holding it like this. See,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
holding it.
Yeah, fair
That's
enough.
why it's shite. I apologize for my lack of presence this podcast, everyone. But I'm just one of those people. If I can't get comfortable, just it's all fucked.
Hmm, I know. I remember the live we did. Holy
Yep,
dog. It's
it's all fucked.
excruciating.
Yep, it's excruciating. So sorry about that. So anyway, just tolerate it. Tolerate it. We're going back to all right. So I think whatever way this unfolds, we can see a clear past timeline that Trump is connected to. And however this evolves, we can see a timeline that the Democrats and that whole genre is connected to. And that's an easy one to like go back into the past on, right? Yeah, like that's an easy one to trace. Like there's a lot of blood and gore and secret societies and the building of the Illuminati and Masonics. Like that whole timeline is there. That whole control. To me, back to the pharaohs. That one goes back to the pharaohs.
Yep.
So tomorrow night we find out who's won, and we can probably find out in the next couple of hours. I don't know when it's sort of declared. What is it saying online? Have a look right now.
I'll
No,
check.
well,
And
it's not till tomorrow because they're a day
yeah,
behind.
The
that's
latest
right.
polls, like, I mean, that they were trying to push this whole narrative that it was really, really close and neck and all that, but it clearly wasn't. But the latest polls that I saw was saying that Trump was way ahead. Let me do a quick AI search.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Trump, I highly doubt Trump's going to win the election. That's my guess.
You doubt that he's
I'm
going
kind
to,
of tossed
really?
over that, but I think it like yeah, I think you're right. I think it has to be Kamala, doesn't it? I think it
Oh,
Yeah.
has to be.
oh my
But then
God.
that's when the dispute comes in, and that's why they're saying he's going to be a dictator because he's going to
Take it
go and
anyway.
dispute and actually overthrow it. I feel.
Did you see that thing
Shit.
on
And you know,
section 14 of their constitution?
And what's that?
It's basically it says that if you're convicted of insurrection, that you can't be the president. And this is why they've been pushing the
Right.
whole, what is it, Jan 6 or whatever it is. So the latest
Yeah. Well, well,
oops,
this is I
oh, hang on, it's gone. Oh. As of today, it's saying Harris 49%, Trump 48 in
yeah.
the overall poll.
You know they do this every election in every country. It's always like it's a 1%. You're like that is such. It's every time, right? Every
It's
time.
not
Oh,
fair.
It's so droll to me that we have to suffer more on the size and shape of this earth. It's so annoying that that has to like stay as a bullshit construct, and then not that's not going to be part of this disclosure. It's so annoying,
But
and we're
actually,
gonna be.
keep
Yeah.
going.
Yep. No, go on, Dal. Yep, go.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I don't know when you're not talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. My hand's getting lazy and tired. I'm sorry, everyone. Jeez, give a girl a break, all right? Jeez, jeez, jeez.
Jeez,
I was
man.
gonna say
Why
'cause
your
with the
chest?
insurrection thing, I think you're right, Cam. I think like a lot of the like exposure is going to be because they kind of have to. Then you make a mockery of what's done the last 4 years if you show that 2020 was rigged, right? So I think like it might kind of even come back to that. But the other one too is if you have a disputed presidency and he's seen as commander in chief, but she's the executive, then if war breaks out, who's in charge, right? So he
Yeah, so he still
he
has ultimate control
and
of.
he's pitting himself as the he's the anti-war president as well
Mm.
too. But then also you can if a world war breaks out, then you go to if there's ever to be a Nuremberg trial kind of thing happen, that has to happen under international military law. That's how they,
Oh, yeah,
that's how
okay.
they did those court. Those courts were military courts.
Mm.
It's a whole different set of rules and stuff like that. And that's why I think even with the jab, they're showing that the jab was a military weapon as well
Mm.
too. So
So it
if you
could
get
be
into
positioning,
if you
yeah,
get into a massive war scenario, then you can implement international military law as well too.
okay. So he could be the one to actually start implementing all that stuff and bringing them down.
But how much support is that side going to get, this righteous kind of Christian side? If like, because you're going to have to give people some form of like, well, what are you going to do about this, right? And like, if the crimes that have been done are exposed, then people are going to want blood.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, just look at the internet chatter. Like it looks like more than 50% of people can see what's going on now, especially, Epstein's been hanging around and now with the diddler coming out and all this stuff, and even Kamala's been tied to that, kind of stuff. And apparently, Obama was at these parties and his husband and all this.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to bring down the regime, right, this is the way to do it. Like, because like you said, like the Democrats are just, they got nothing. They got no leaders. They got Barry, what's his name? Barry Osama or whatever his name is.
All right.
Um,
But they reckon with like previous military coups, they've happened all around the world you know for
oh, forever.
decades,
Yeah, yeah.
and they generally they usually result in some form of civil war.
Mm.
And
Well,
they usually step in because either government's gone rogue or there's been accusations of stolen elections, stuff like that too. But they reckon there's like a percentage of when majority of the public, like a large majority, support military intervention, it won't go into civil war. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he's very, very into the army and the army families, and respecting our police and army officers, and they're all, such good
Yeah.
people.
But,
You
but
you
that's
guys
what
have
I've been saying. That they've been openly trying to destroy and expose what's been going on, and at the same time, um, you're building up the trust within the public for if there ever was some sort of military
That
intervention,
they'll back the
they're
military.
trying, that the public are going to support it, and then the exposure of Satanism and all that kind of stuff that they're gonna then you push it in all this religious aspect to move them over
Mm.
to that side as well.
It's weird
but
because
you
they
guys are
find
being very
out.
sophisticated. You're giving them a lot of credit. I think they're like more likely to come in with Fergus the Fungus or a big blue cookie monster that tramples on one of their cities, or some fucking like they're so not sophisticated. Like, why would they bother now? Like,
Are we
honestly,
overthinking?
maybe, but it's good to hear. Like, because this is the sort of chatter that we had in the last elections, right? It was this sort of chatter, like seeing, working at how it could work, like what could come about from this, how it would think. And that's the sort of stuff that, remember, Campbell, we were talking a couple of shows about retrospect history.
Active.
Like this concept that, what we were so excited about 4 years ago, like, we put our attention on that and just like re-altered the timeline somehow. And so now we're going to be living out an experience as a result of that, which then brought in the concept that all of that chatter in 2020, which everyone like decided to fuck off and get over it, like with the white hats and the queue and all these are military and how it's gonna, like, all of that absolutely could now finally play out, and wouldn't that be like
Oh,
satisfying?
that'd be
So are you
awesome.
going to watch it, Kelly? Like, what do you think about focusing your attention on this? Like, is it a glance at the phone? Are you going to sit there watching it all day? Just
Oh
like,
God, no. Are you kidding
How
me? I
you
would go,
go?
fucking no way, Matt. No, oh God. I didn't even have time to do such things. No, God, no.
Entirely.
No, I'll check in and see what's happening on the feed every,
Well,
Just
like
follow
till
Elon on X. He'll keep you posted.
yeah,
I don't do the X. I fucking can't stand Elon
AI
Musk. Oh my
Elon.
God.
Oh, I'm surprised that you two aren't sitting down watching the Melbourne Cup today. I mean, how un-Australian
I
is
forgot.
it?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
I
completely
didn't know
forgot.
until last night when
I
my parents started being. I'm like, oh, really?
Are you
yeah,
finding this
totally
though,
forgot.
Campbell? Like these things that in that was just part of ritual growing up. Like you had to
Oh,
watch the Melbourne Cup, and there's a
Melbourne
big
Cup,
day.
like it
And
was
now I just don't.
in
don't
Victoria. It's a public holiday. Like everyone literally gets the day off and they're going to have barbecues, and it's a
yeah,
massive thing. And now it's like, oh, is it today? Huh?
yeah.
It's just like a nothing, right? That's
Yeah,
That's kind of how the election feels. It's like the Melbourne Cup that we just missed it. We don't,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
oh, did it
No,
happen?
but
Who
we
won? You know, yeah.
can I just say, like, have you checked out that channel that we've been watching, Campbell, Science in Space, Science in the Earth Science. What is it called? That fucking one with the weather on it.
Which one?
Oh
Is it
God, the
funny?
one with the weather.
It's the triple B, or there's
No,
the
no, look, what a
it
clumsy
wasn't
intro.
very.
World of Science. It's World of Science. World of Science now, if you haven't checked it out, it's pretty fucking, it shows you the weather that's gone on for the last couple of days or the last week around the world, and it has people sending things in from their backyard, sort of thing. And wow, may I just say that I binged on it the other night and got like a whole version of the weather patterns for the last 3 months and how they've played out across the world. And it's unbelievably, like, it's fascinating to watch. You got this whole like build up and change in the Earth's electromagnetic field, like the impact on the weather. It started off with like lots of sinkholes popping up about three months ago, like, and then like things popping, gases releasing, and volcanoes and tornadoes, like wind things happening. And then gradually you started to see these green, like fireballs sort of started to appear all over the realm, and they would appear, and within a day there would be unbelievable flood in that area. And floods aren't coming at the
Yeah,
hands of
I've seen,
rain. Like, there's
yeah,
lots of these floods, this flash flooding happening, and it's not raining.
yeah,
Like the
yeah.
one in Spain, it
That's
wasn't
really
raining.
funny.
this
Yeah,
is Spain. They said it was like 2.5 meters of water flushing down. Like I've been to Valencia. It's flat as. There's like, where's the
Yeah.
water coming from there?
Yeah.
we're
It's like, and the one
beautiful
in
one.
the ones in America, like the ones in the mountains, that North Carolina, and
Yeah.
there was the rain, it does not equal. And anyway, we start to watch this for the last 2 months,
What's the
these
channel
water
called again?
events. What
What's it called again?
World of Signs, wasn't it?
World of
World of Signs, World of Signs.
oh, signs.
Yeah, World of
She's gonna
Signs.
put. She's putting it in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Um,
will. Jay
yeah,
introduced
did
this a
you
couple of weeks
see
ago, and it's excellent.
did you see New Mexico?
Yes.
Flat
And
out in the desert and cars were floating around, man. It was crazy.
the last 2 months, the water events have intensified dramatically, and it's all this flash flooding, and they're in places you wouldn't, like, heaps in Saudi Arabia, Oman, which is
Yeah.
where I'm going, the Sahara Desert, Morocco, desert places, and there's flash flooding, and then you've
Well,
got all of
where
the
I
Asia.
was in Thailand, that completely flooded as well.
Yeah,
Where I left,
yeah.
yeah.
And then all the way through Europe, all these European countries, like places that we're not hearing about on the news or in any of our feeds. So to see it intensify, and so it's just been, and then it's turning into these intense storms and
Mm.
intense flash flooding. Now,
Yeah.
all of that's relevant because of the node point that we're in right now with this election, and all the timelines that it means coming together, and the node point of the Earth's rocking
Wow.
and rolling right now, whether it be, and I think it's a mixture of organic and inorganic, natural and
Interesting
unnatural.
because they're calling Trump and his campaign the red wave.
Mm,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. So that's
right.
exciting too. So that's interesting. And then, of course,
Yeah.
you've got the northern lights are being seen down in the bloody equator at the
Yeah.
moment. It's just
Yeah.
like it's
Mm-hmm.
insane what's going on out there. So there's definitely
Mm.
big changes happening that aren't orchestrated by mere humans, right? There's a lot going
What do you
on.
think the
Yeah.
green is? What's with the green and why are they green as far as these lights?
Emerald City, mate, Wizard of Oz. Um, I, I don't know. I did see something on it the other day, but I've forgotten what they were saying. But I mean, that yeah, they've always been green, haven't they? The Northern Lights. I
It's
mean,
just
what are the Northern Lights? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from inside? Because inside the Earth, if you think of like phosphorescence, which is basically the light, natural light that you get under where it's dark, it's green. I mean, is that actually that light coming out from the center of the Earth or whatever underneath us, basically?
yeah, or it could be the magnification and the focus of the sun also doing something there with the color spectrum. The
Yeah.
color spectrum might be changing.
Well,
The plasma's moving all the plasma, and then obviously things that could be coming from
and then is that what
under
all
the
this
earth.
UFO talk is? Is it just a cover up of plasma?
Yep, highly possible.
Because it's everywhere, and they are talking about orbs, but they used to talk about them, as UFOs or UAPs or whatever. But now they're starting to say it's plasma. And did you see? I actually caught it on Jason's channel that there's this guy doing all this research into the Malaysian flight. What was it?
Oh
M7,
yeah,
the
yeah, I
one.
saw that.
Oh no, what? What's the goss?
Well, they got this footage. Apparently, it's from a satellite, so I don't know, but footage
Yeah.
of the plane, and it's flying along, and these three orbs appear, and they start spinning around it, and the
Yeah,
plane just disappears. It
yeah.
just disappears, and so the theory is that it's somehow been pulled into like a different whatever, right? Reality realm, frequency, whatever. But there's never been any trace of that plane found.
But do you know what I found interesting about that? Because you know how there was that the whole like Rothschild freaking semiconductor thing connection with MH17 or whatever one that was that left
Oh,
Malaysia.
that they
Remember that?
put parts or something in there.
Yeah, they were all from the same company, and then they were in competition with Rothschild and all that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah.
it was all to do with like chipping and AI and that. But then that's what I mean. Like these Rothschilds and that, they're obviously answering to these people that are freaking based in Antarctica or wherever underground, right? So, mate, what if they went, you know, this bloodline that's Rothschilds on the surface have gone, because they're not really the finger pullers, that
No,
they
no.
are to a degree on the surface. But what about if they went rogue, and they started wanting more power, and then they're like, haha, no, because a lot of
Mm.
people do think that those
Like
light
an inner
stuff.
mutiny, like a mutiny, internal mutiny.
Yeah, yeah, because if that stuff happens on the surface, then why wouldn't it be happen
Yeah,
underground
yeah. I mean, and,
too?
and isn't that the story of all the gods? There's always a mutiny against the elder ruling gods, right? Like
Yeah.
always, like
But that's what I thought straight away when I heard that story. I'm like, that fucking kind of makes a bit of sense.
it's interesting. Yeah, yeah, the Rothschilds or whatever, just the 300 committee that rule this realm, but they're the bitches of whoever's actually doing it, wherever they are, underground or Antarctica. Yeah, well, that's interesting because they would have had control for what, a couple hundred years, and we know they're all a bit power crazy. So was it a coup? Is that tied to what's going on now with the US election? Whether because that would you would think the Rothschilds and that would be more, of the Democrat ilk, the people that are making up the Democrats and that. So
They
is
would have to like whatever's happening on this, whatever we're experiencing, and whatever energy force is charging this perspective that we see, they're in the same situation because we're interconnected. If they're underground, we're in the same
yeah, they're going to go through the same frequency change.
yeah, so there's probably whatever's going on up here, like misusing this energetic source, misusing this source, would be also infecting what's going on underneath. And,
Totally.
for those fighting for this to shift up here, it could be exactly mirrored underneath as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do
I'm
you
really,
remember what Putin said to Tucker Carlson when he did that interview? And he goes, oh, like who? Well, he's like, who's pulling the strings? And he goes, you don't know their names to Tucker. And Tucker's like, yeah, well, I know a few people. He said, you don't know their names. You don't know these people.
Oh no, I
Is what he
don't.
said. So like the Rothschilds, these are open names. We know these
Yeah,
names.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You would know them, and you don't know the names, which is interesting because Putin admits he was the one that released all the Tartarian information, all the maps and stuff. That was Putin.
Yeah.
Got us on this whole path in the first place.
you
And
know,
was Tartaria, so, and that they go up to the North Pole, like up Siberia and all that kind of thing. So I don't know. Are they tied? Is he tied in? Because it's a very east-west. At least we're given the perspective, right? It's this whole east-west struggle too. There's some
There's
kind
no
of difference.
nations.
I know.
There's no nations.
Imagine all the people.
Sing with us, Kelly.
Well, like
No, but you're right. You're right.
Yeah, well, there's definitely no nation of the USA. Like, it's crazy. Like, leave the border open. It's like, without a border, there's no country, people. Like, what are you talking about? USA. It's like, so even that's a bit of a weird one. I was going to also ask you, Dale, about the 8th,
Oh, the
8th,
eighth.
the 8th of the 11th, which is in what, 3 or 4 days? Um,
What's that? Fifth.
it's another 3 days. So yeah,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've caught up with Annette and stuff, the one that's put out like most of that stuff. Um, but I don't know if you've seen Luke Ballock's done like he did like the astrocartography of Australia on that date. It's on the Australian natal chart. And I think it's a Pluto Mars square, directly 11 o'clock on the 8th of November. And he
11th.
said these are, yeah, very much like tied to like war and conflict and what else would you say? Like high tempers and emotion, all these things. And Pluto kind of comes in abruptly like that. And then he done the astrocartography, and I think it was it might have been the Pluto line, but I have to check. It might have been the Mars line. And it runs directly along the east coast, exactly at the same time too. Um, and then he did the natal chart of like the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and then he did the natal chart of the Sydney Opera House. And I guess, yeah, like with a lot of the other stuff that Annette put up, it's just like super interesting.
But
I would never give a certainty of any date. I just like that's just not how.
just watching the
I
sun.
don't believe in certainties, right? I do to a degree because I think there's always a blueprint and stuff. Some stuff is just going to play out. But as far as giving a date prediction, like who knows? But there's a lot of cool stuff there surrounding the
So
symbolism
the natal charts, they're what? Astrology charts on the date of when they
of
were
the country. So yeah, the way he did the
whatever.
Australian natal chart was the swearing in of the first prime minister. So that they have like disputes on when a country is born, but he actually looked at like three different separate charts of Australia, and the way he chose that one based on looking at other patterns in history that matched up more directly. So he thinks that because we had Jeff Harmon come in our conference last time, and he did the Australian natal chart as well. It was that
Wow.
was really cool. But yeah, he's gonna. I asked him to do the Shrine of Remembrance natal chart, so he's gonna do
Yeah.
that for us to see what he
Yeah,
can
cool.
Oh,
see what
yeah.
he can pick
Yeah,
up as well. Because
that's
that
cool.
actually opened on 11/11/11 as well, so that was open on
Okay. Yeah.
November 11 at 11
Yeah,
a.m.
I mean, I think honestly, war is definitely conflict
Yeah.
definitely
It's on the
happening.
cards. Well,
Well,
I mean, right,
this is what he
this
was
is
saying on the astrology.
mm,
It's like it's there. He said,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
absolutely there, and it wasn't just there on the Australian natal chart. It's there just on the normal chart, and it's also there tied in with these buildings, and it's in the astrocartography as well,
so
and then it's all in the symbolism of like the stuff that Annette's shown as well. So
so astrocartography is mapping the sky and then what put in relation to the map of the realm, is it?
yeah, so like if we did your astrocartography, they'll put your natal chart up on this program, and then the way the planets align, they'll all have certain lines along the globe that move gradually over time. So you'll have a different planet align, and people use it for business and stuff too. So if you find okay, you're near a Jupiter line, whatever you're expressing is going to come through a lot more and within abundance. So you move to that area to get more money or whatever it might be.
I
But
tried to
yeah, so I
learn.
can't remember exactly what he said, but I think it might be the Mars line that it literally runs directly along the east coast of Australia. So yeah, I mean, there's a
Oh,
lot there.
well, how do you think that's going to translate?
Well, I've been saying for several years that they're going to do a multi-state, multi-city attack, and that was just based on like this this chat that I did with Ole Demigard years ago, and because he kind of uncovered this plot through NATO and stuff that they were planning to hit. I think it was like 39 cities in 36 hours, and to do with infrastructure. And I kind of just put that on the back burner for like 4 years, and then I'm like, well, that would just be perfect with what
Mm.
everything that's on now
Because
too.
Mars is the god of war, right? But I mean, also, who else is talking a lot about Mars, right? Our friend Elon. I saw him,
Yeah.
I think it was on the latest Rogan, because Rogan had him on as well, did it like yesterday or today, and he had like an Occupy Mars shirt on, which is interesting.
Was it,
So
didn't Werner von Braun write a fictional book and there was a guy Elon from
Yeah,
Mars
yeah,
or
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is. Yeah, yeah, that's out there too.
what threat could cause Australia's so this Mars line is that the east coast of America or Australia you're referring to?
Australia? I shouldn't.
Okay, so
I'm not. Yeah,
well, as a hypothesis,
yeah, yeah.
what like event could see that area of Australia? So how would you define the east coast from where to where?
Well, it kind of like basically the whole east. Like if you look in, I'd say major cities from Brisbane down to Melbourne, even into
Yeah.
Tassie. Yeah,
Seaboard.
Yeah, because I definitely like on the weather side of things, the Sunshine Coast down to Brisbane down is like inland sea, from like what's being anticipated for 2025, that sort of area. But what sort of event could bring Australia into conflict there and actually be defending itself? Like what could possibly occur?
well, you could have natural, unnatural slash weather events too.
Yes, yeah.
But I think what they really want to push, just with what I've seen, like Trump talking about, and all the people coming from the southern border, and now flooding Australia with immigrants and stuff too. I think it's going to be the terrorist angle is like where they're going. That's what I think. Yeah.
Bloody terrorists always causing terror
They're back
on the
because
tower.
they went away for like 5 years, but that's kind of I see the narrative is they've been Iran's been harboring and funding these groups to slowly come over and penetrate the West, just waiting for their moment. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they've
Like
definitely penetrated the USA, right? What is it? 30 million of them could, that illegal immigrants. So they've been talking about these terror cells, little pockets of people that get in and set up these little cells and just wait for
yeah,
the signal,
yeah.
right?
Well, I mean they are doing in the UK and stuff. Like they're giving them. They got like full hotels and stuff, and then these people were being stationed in like former military facilities and stuff. Like, um, and they're kind of not telling you, but they're kind of open about it too, right? So I think like if you what you saw in England during the Paris Olympics was like a bit of a test run for it,
Yeah,
and
right.
it just took one stabbing at a Taylor Swift dance studio to really get the emotion going. Do you remember that? And then it was crazy riding for like a week. So
Where was that in the US? Have to
that
be.
was in England in
I was in England. She's got a dance studio in England. Bloody hell.
no, so there was three girls stabbed at a
Oh,
Taylor
yeah.
Swift dance studio on Hart Lane, and
I
the
didn't.
place was called the Hart Space.
Okay, I didn't know Taylor was
Sacrifice.
involved in that. Yeah.
Sacrifice.
Right. I
Fuck.
mean, the same things happen in
To the
America.
high priestess.
We've had three complete apartment complexes taken over by illegal
Right.
immigrants. I think is it in Colorado or somewhere like that? Like
Venezuelan gangs or something.
yeah, Venezuelan gangs taking over literally the whole buildings and stuff and kicking everyone out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I saw a news interview with like the news lady. He's going, "Oh, it's not like it's everywhere. It's just a few of
What
them."
if, you know,
Only a
one
couple of
thing
buildings.
Only a
one
couple.
thing I've seen in a few movies and a few cartoons scattered throughout my life is the opera house blowing up. I've
Mm.
seen that repeated a few times. So you could imagine if like someone blew up the opera house like a rocket or a missile blew up the rocket house, that would be like a total symbol that Australia is under attack.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be.
There's so much foreshadowing around the opera house, and I think it was opened by the Queen. I think I'm not sure. I forget. Um, but the other one, when they opened the Sydney Harbour Bridge, it was meant to be opened by whoever or the premier or whatever it was, and this guy comes through on a horse. Have you seen it?
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. It cuts the ribbon. And what does he say? I can't remember what he said.
Oh, hang on. Who opened
Yeah,
up?
wow.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I think for sure, the energy consensus is that something will happen very soon. Something's happening. This is the beginning. It feels so strongly this is the beginning to me. Do you guys feel that this is the beginning?
I think so.
It
Yeah.
feels like a pivotal point at least.
How do
Um,
you feel about that, Callie? If there's like the trauma and chaos of people being injured and hurt and that stuff. Like how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I think at this point, from my perspective, as this sincerely begins, and is backed up by, the weather patterns around us, and then the energetic of the consciousness of this realm. I mean, we enter the time of trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
So, and this is where you want to hope that you have accumulated your sovereignty a bit and
Yeah.
your skill set a bit, and that you've thought it through a little bit, and you've got a little bit of a an idea of how you're going to process things like that happening. I think we're going to have there's going to be the war angle, the conflict of the war angle. There's going to be the alien angle. There's going to be the natural event angle, the plasma angle, the polar shift angle. Like, it's all going to be like coming together in one, which essentially means the best and only thing you're going to have your attention on is staying alive. So, I mean, I think many people are going to pass during this time. It is my highest hope that I can stay alive, because I want to be part of the new expression of it. I want to see it through to its full. And I really feel like our communities are quite protected. I really feel that, because I feel like we came down here as and oh, we're experiencing this to know it, to experience it, to have the wisdom of it, to turn that into wisdom, and to be able to observe it, and to then tell it, and then to share the stories of it, and then to hold that memory. Like, I feel like there's a relationship to our
Yeah.
presence here that's just deeper than just our life experience, like in this
Well,
body.
Callie, you ever like been and done so much already that like imagine getting wiped out by a tidal wave now. Like that is,
Oh,
yeah, that's not your
no,
way to go.
Dale.
You're not
That
going
would
there.
fucking piss me right
I would
off,
be
brother.
pissed.
Oh my God. May I just say that I had an experience. Have I told you my dying experience where I thought it was absolute, I was like with my bestie on my farm in the middle of nowhere, 2013. We took acid. Thought it was the best fucking idea
Oh
in
yeah,
the
you
whole
took yeah.
wide world to eat bread while we were coming high on this. The acid was popping, and my throat constricted around the fucking bread, because of course you're not producing saliva at this moment.
Yeah.
Don't ever do this. And I was like, basically couldn't breathe. There was no one there to help me. The acid was on, and no one saved me. And I knew when I was turning blue that I was going to die,
I
and that was
almost
it. I
spoke
was literally going to fall forward and die, and no one was going to help me. And I was so fucking pissed off that was my death, the choking on bread. And
Was
I
that
just
your
said,
emotion at the time? You just
no.
I'm pissed off. Like
Oh
this is
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
I was
coming
so I
through.
was like conscious. My body was passing out. I hadn't breathed for ages. I knew. I was totally conscious inside my head. And in that moment, I was so fucking pissed off to the max. No way was I fucking gonna die like that. Like, I'm not gonna die at the hands of a fucking tsunami. Oh, universe.
But
I'm
the
just saying
same,
that. And what I did, and this was an amazing initiation. I know I've told you the story, but I'll finish it for everyone. What I did was in my last, literally my last dying breath, like literally the very last one, in my head, I screamed with all the energy I had left with me, that everything I screamed, I live, and like to the end breath, live, like full on in my head. That was it. And in that moment, I fell forward, fell into this position that I trained in, fell forward, and I was out of my body, and I was in a state of nothingness. I didn't need to. All the stress was gone, or the emotion was gone, or the need to breathe was gone. I was just completely and utterly out of it.
and
And I stayed.
what a way to have a near death experience, like
I
choking on a
know.
bit of bread on
Fucking
acid. Like
hell. Oh my
imagine
God.
that being in
Classic,
the eulogy.
classic,
I almost
fucking
choking
classic.
on
But they
tofu.
say that's how you're supposed to get it out. That's like the last resort is just fall head first. And
Oh, well,
That's like a
all I was thinking,
Heimlich,
I was at the
bro.
point where someone would have to pierce my throat with a pen or something.
Mm.
But because in my last dying breath, I declared to the universe with everything that I had that I lived, I went straight flying into the grid. I went straight to point zero. I went into the nothingness. And in that moment, I knew that I was consciously aware of the nothingness. I was completely above the experience of being in this physical plane. And then, I don't know, minutes passed perhaps. And my friend by this time was watching it all, like on high on her acid, watching this all play out. And yeah, and then eventually my body just like let it all go. I farted, snot, tears, I wet my pants, sweat, everything. And the bread came out. I was back in my body. And I knew in that moment that I had actually fucking done a death initiation and saved myself. I knew that I had saved myself. I knew that I just passed a level of sovereignty because now I know I can't die accidentally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
And that's a trippy little story. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, but like, and that's what I would be doing if I was faced with that dynamic in any one of the myriad potentials that are ahead of us to do with your life. Like I would be, yeah, I would know to like declare that you live or you'll die.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Ah,
Well,
And one of the,
I know for myself too that I'm not here to experience that. Like I'm not going out in a terror attack or
no,
like yeah,
nah,
it's just not. I don't even believe in the possibility of that too. Um, and nor should anyone else.
no, totally not, man. I mean, it won't be good when it happens, if a lot of people suffer in that, but yeah, I'm not, it's definitely not my fate, man. Like, fuck, if driving into a tree at 70 k's an hour when you're unconscious can't take me out, then
yeah, we're protected.
Exactly.
There's something in the deal. There's something in the deal of coming and experiencing this from our side and bringing the light and bringing out love energy. There's something in the deal that's protective. I just know it. I know it. It's protective.
I'm
And
totally, man,
yeah,
protected. Like, yeah,
doesn't mean you shouldn't plan. Like, I mean, it's a fine line here because, yes, I think we're protected, but yes, we're very conscious and smart about what's happening. And, like basically, what did Tui say to me? She said, what's your plan? Because if you don't have one, anything can happen.
mm,
So
yeah,
know
yeah,
your plan, otherwise anything will happen. And it would be so much better to know your plan and not just anything happening.
mm,
So it's good to have a plan, you know.
yeah, man. I
We
totally agree. Take control, right? If you don't know where you're going, that's where you end up. So I think if you know, it's the same with life, right? If you know you're going through and you're going to survive, then whatever that plan may be, just have that, right? Run to the hills. Run to the
Well,
hills.
my plans are simple plans. Like I just having food in your house is a good idea. I think it's easy to accomplish. And this isn't being a fearmonger. This is just having a fucking plan, a goddamn
Yeah.
fucking plan. Like, just like sort and like, one of the things you should all do is like gather your comfort shit. If you're a smoker, like
Buy lots of smoke, buy a pound of weed.
that when shit goes down, you're not also withdrawing fucking tobacco. You can actually like, or if you're a coffee drinker, put the coffee away. So you've got coffee when you're like most freaked out by reality. Like get your comfort shit sorted. Like medicine advice number one, get your comfort shit sorted.
We've got,
Medicine advice number two is, really look into this urine idea because like
I was
if
gonna
that
say
is
that.
what it is, like that's fucking gift to
half a
your
piece,
medicine
man.
cabinet beyond anything.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not you're not fear prepping, are you? Because
No,
there's complete fear prepping, and then there's this is just a smart thing to do.
there's
Yeah, but
magic
that's the
prepping.
thing about food. It's not like it's you're spending, 20 grand on something that you'll never use. It's food. So if nothing happens, you're going to eat it
I,
anyway.
I I kind of wanted to get to the point. I've said that I don't know if I'm like creating this into my reality, but the amount of those bush turkeys around here, they are just everywhere. I'm like, if we're going down, I'm eating them.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
a
They
they
just
are
bun,
everywhere. Absolutely.
get a
I
bun.
mean, in my head, I'm thinking of it like this. There's going to be massive things happening, and we're coming into this election. To me, is the opening of that. And anything could be occurring within your own environment or away from you, and you'll be observing it. But it could change everything in every way. So I observe myself observing that with my creature comforts. That's where I'm at with it. I'm going to observe that all happening, untouched by it, and enjoy my experience while I'm doing it.
I'm
So
sitting having
that's,
tea in a bag. Yeah, man.
yeah, I'm going to be on the veranda, like talking to my friends as they move through this property and comfortable and comfortable. And to me, whatever that means for me. To me, that's having known the food sorted for a month or so. That's good. Water's sorted for a month or so. That's good. Weed, tobacco, coffee, tea, whatever your thing is, that's good. Sort it out.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go to town, like, that's good.
Mm. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, yeah. Just be prepared. I mean, and believe that you're going to be in the right place. I mean, that's my that's my major plan is I just know that I'm going to be in the right place at the right time. I'm not going to be in the wrong place. So whatever that means,
You'll
that
be here.
I
Let's face
know,
it.
no
You'll
doubt.
be here.
In January, I'll be back. I'll be
You're
back.
gonna
And
be amazing.
firewood's a good one. I can get sorted, yeah. Anyway, like there's a lot of people like anti the fear mongering these days, which is it's a swing to the other
Yeah.
perspective. But to me, you just got to have a plan or anything's going to happen.
Yeah.
As
And there is a big difference between fear mongering and preparedness, right? Like fear mongering is really just telling everything that it's all going to end, but not worrying about how to save yourself, right? It's a bit
And
silly.
guys, like, be past fear mongering. We're past it. You know this is happening. Like, you fucking know this is happening. This isn't fear mongering. You know it's going to happen. So if you know it's going to happen, like, you're past the fear of it.
Mm,
It's going to happen.
mm, totally, totally, man. And
It's already happened.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't, isn't it like nice to be imagine like being calm amongst the chaos, and that was kind of
Yes.
what the like COVID period was too.
Yes.
Like everyone's freaking out. I'm like, all right, because I hadn't mentally prepped in my head for that scenario for years. Do you know what I mean? And then when it came, I
Same.
was like, all right, we're here. What
Yep.
do we do now?
Yep.
mm,
Yep. It was so good. It was so good to be at ease with what was happening, to have a bigger picture of what was happening, to enact your freedom and right, and to do whatever you wanted anyway, and to go on the best dates ever in empty cities. Like, it was all good. You can really utilize this time, because when it gets too bad, they will lock the world down again. That 100%, I believe I believe that's going to happen. Um, and we're going to be back in our art studios. So I'm all ready for that. I've
that's the
got my
thing,
art
isn't it?
supplies sorted.
Yeah,
I've got my canvases
great
up.
clothes, and it's
You know,
like,
I've
you made me think about the tobacco situation though too. That's
Yep,
thank
well,
you
yep.
for bringing that
Dale,
up.
yes, I think it's actually turned up today. I got a message from Australia Post, but yes, I've got some,
Oh, Campbell,
yeah,
go and fucking get it. I want you to open it live on the
do
show
I
and
go and
prove to
check?
everyone that it can be done.
What
Okay,
do you
I'll
got?
go and check.
Organic tobacco?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
imported from the States. So we didn't know if that was possible, how many he would get in, because they're like 4 packets. And this is John from our John, the wizard,
Yeah.
our wizard. Yep. Hi, John. Hi, all the water fasters, by the way, you fucking legends. We're having a meetup next week. Yeah. The price of Minatu, as this hike went from $30 price hike the other day. The organic tobacco. So Campbell went online to see if we could order it from the States, and it's like 4 packets for $40 or something.
So
Whereas
what's the
now that would be $400 our price.
yeah. So
But I didn't know if he
it's
could get
illegal
it through
though, isn't it?
customs.
You can't import these, can you?
No, well, this is what he's just done. John gave us a website that was allowed us to buy American Spirit, and I think he could get 4 in. So this is what is the experiment. Did he succeed? Let's see when he returns with
Excited.
his like what is that called when you have underground things? What's I don't know if I'm fucking blank the
I know
word.
what you mean. The reveal? No, no, no.
Contraband.
Contraband.
Yeah.
You know, after
So
like you watch all those prison documentaries, and it's like everything's contraband.
yeah, it's all about the contraband. And to be fair, it will be about the contraband again. Just saying,
Mm.
like, if you want to have a few things for wheeling and dealing. I mean, this is not hardcore prepping to me. This is just like basic human, like,
That's
living well.
getting your
Yeah,
essentials in order. Yeah.
yeah. I know if I had a pouch of tobacco and I could go and trade that for anything I wanted, because it's going to be like,
Well, yeah, it holds value too, doesn't it? Like tobacco, it's like yeah,
of
we get
course.
especially in the prison system. If you look at us, in some sort of prison system, we go
Hmm.
back to
Hmm.
bartering. I
Yep.
need to I always like shit myself when I come back from Thailand, and like if they're going to check my bags or not. Because I'll have about, I don't know, usually about 80 packets of cigarettes, and
Yep, yep.
I've had them taken once. So
Oh, how disappointing.
I know, and they go, you can pay the tax, or we're taking them, and I'm like, how much is the tax? And it was, I don't know, ridiculous.
Like
Yeah.
$800. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
no.
It's so fucking annoying. I mean, God, I just can't believe it. The only organic tobacco
Yeah.
taxed 30 extra bucks in one night. Crazy. I mean, not
This one,
crazy. No, not crazy.
so
As to
that's
be expected.
yeah, pricks. Well, come on, Campbell. We're waiting for the review.
Yeah, geez. So yeah, so what about you, buddy? Like, where are you stand with the whole like getting like sorted for this sort of time, this timeline we currently stand on
Oh,
as
I'm
of
not.
2 days from today?
I am. I'm complete opposite because nothing. I've got no prep.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So yeah, if I got my cigarettes,
It hasn't turned up yet. It was
but
guitar.
I'm just kind of
Oh,
I'm
he doesn't have them.
But
hopelessly kind of like naively stupid into everything. But it's been like that my whole life. I don't know if that's bad because then you probably fall back on others. But every time anything's kind of gone bad, I just find my feet very quickly. So
me too,
You're the
man.
Dharma bums.
I deal well with chaos and conflict and all that kind of stuff. Um,
thrive.
but these the tobacco is definitely I've been tracking. It's definitely in Australia, so it should be here the next few days. And I got American Spirit. I got 3 pouches here. Like a pouch of organic is $100 for what is it, 25 grams. And the
Mm.
ones I got 3 packets of like I think they're like 38 grams. I don't know, it's American ounces or whatever for like it was under $200. So it's basically the equivalent of four over 4 packets. So it's at least half price and it's all organic. So
Virginia, is it Virginia tobacco?
yeah. I think yeah, American Spirit. Is that Virginian or is that Georgian? I think it's Virginian. Yeah. I mean,
That
when
was always the best stuff, wasn't it? If you
I
had
was
like
in
Virginia,
Georgia and I
that's
was
that one.
buying it by the ounce. Like they do, but it was sweet tobacco, like they roll it with fruit and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But
We
you
used to get Port Royal. Remember Port Royal?
I do, man. But I think that's unfortunately full of chemicals now, but that's what I used like that. And what was the other one? Capstan was the other one I used to do. But yeah, you can get
I
it.
used to smoke menthol.
Oh
God.
my
Yeah,
God.
me too. I like them.
I know, but they're just so, oh God, it's just one chemical factory, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus. That's when I was living in Japan. It was to be expected.
Oh, really? Well, I used to smoke them, but it was very, 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 very gay for a
But
heterosexual
dude, I
Very gay.
sort of
Very
know.
man.
gay. Very gay. Yep.
It was
Get
very
it
gay.
on, mate.
Yep. Very gay.
Yes, but yeah, I'll shoot you the it'll be up in the next few days. Once again, I'll shoot you the email of what it is or the address, the
Yeah,
website. And it's
yeah,
half
awesome.
price, man, because bloody tobacco in Australia is just crazy, right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, I went to go get some tobacco recently when I was down in Victoria, and the place that had been firebombed. And then I went over to the next one, and then they had the police in there, and then they've been firebombed everywhere. And then
I mean,
yeah,
depends how
but
much
now
Oh,
you could always go to Eastern Europe or the States, right?
yeah,
And you could literally, if you buy what I've worked out, it depends on, if it just say the ticket's $1,500, then that's like what, 15 packets if you're smoking.
yeah, you pay for it.
As long as
Hey,
you come back with like 20 packets or more, you're ahead and you get a free holiday.
hey, Kat, this is
that's
what I do
funny.
when I go to Thailand. I'm like, I've come back. I'm like, it's paid for my whole airfare.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
that's the money.
This is what you think about during the day, buddy. You
Man.
Yeah,
like
we are thinking
survival
like
mass.
prisoners with illegal contraband.
It's
Illegal
really funny.
tobacco trader. But there's tobacco wars happening in Australia. Have you seen?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, they're attacking like tobacco shops and stuff, and there's all this like black market stuff coming out. I even saw on the news the other day. Now there's a black market meat industry like popping up. Like, and it showed some dude with all this meat like just on the road in the sun trying to sell it.
Yeah, because you can't sell it. You have to go, it can't be sold.
And another
That's
thing,
all our farmers are suffering that. Oh, okay, I've got to tell you some farm goss team. Like, so last week I was starting to film our documentary where we're like exposing the food chain, totally off the topic of everything else. And we went down to Tasmania and followed the salmon farming story. And I don't know out there because I didn't know any of this, right? I knew vaguely, but not the details. All right, so here's some deets. So anywhere you buy Atlantic Tasmanian farmed fish, so salmon, if it's got the word Atlantic or salmon or Tasmania in it, it's farmed, right? And the farmed fish now, get this, they feed these fish GMO pellets, canola oil, soybeans, and chicken waste like beaks and feathers and feet and stuff. Those salmon now contain more chicken than fish, number one. For anyone who eats,
God.
and here's the bugger, such a brilliant marketing campaign, they don't actually have to put the word farmed on the packet. So whoever eats Tasmanian salmon or any Atlantic salmon, you are now eating equivalent of bad fat in each salmon piece to the equivalent of a McDonald's Big Mac meal. So salmon is no longer at all a viable option for a healthy diet. These little buggers have completely annihilated the environments of Tasmania. Like they have completely polluted. These fish farms release up to 9 times the amount of pollution, fish shit, compared to the Tasmanian population. 9 times the amount of the Tasmanian population goes into the oceans from salmon poo. And those fish are eating all of that and living in that, and they're dying of depression. They have the most disgusting, awful, they call them the battery hens of the sea. And then these fish, right, the dead ones that float to the surface or sink to the bottom of the nets, they scoop them out. And guess what happens to the dead ones?
They mush them up and feed them back to them.
Feed them back, surely.
No, those dead ones now make up 99% of the fish oil market.
Oh,
So
no.
anyone who
Your
consumes
fish
fish
oil.
oil tablets, like it's almost always coming from these farms and they're all over the
You're getting
world.
fish oil tablets that are from these salmon that have eaten
Kelp.
chicken and
Oh,
soy
yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
canola and all
And
this other shit.
So basically, the good omega-3s are hardly existent. The bad omega-6 are now like basically the entire equal to Big Mac's McDonald meals.
holy
And get this right, none of them are Australian owned anymore. All foreign nationals, the same old fucking story, blah blah. They are handed a color palette, right, where you can choose the color of the pink you have your salmon look like on the market, which is all chemical poison, right? But without those chemical dyes, like farm salmon is a like disgusting shade of gray. So anything pink is a dye. So these are and one of these guys, one of these multinationals paid the WWF like millions of dollars to use their logo on the packet. So consumers are thinking, all good humanitarian.
Mm.
It's fucked, man. One of the biggest marketing scams of our time. Yeah,
It's,
there you go.
it's
That's the gossip
amazing how they
salmon.
get away with it. Like they always find a way, like through legislation, that you can't, that you can hide that entire process that the consumer has no fucking idea. It's like that with
No
meat
fucking
too. They
idea.
put that crap, that dye in meat.
RSPCA approved meat.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
That's the next story we're chasing.
Wow.
RSPCA approved meat. It's a scam.
Have you heard about the mince in Woolworths?
Oh,
It's
ugh.
got bamboo fiber in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So read the ingredients if you're going to buy a mince. I would say don't even touch mince unless you're getting it from a good butcher and you see him put one steak into the mincing machine, because otherwise, like, God knows what's in that stuff.
1,000 different
1,000
beasts.
different cows with a
That's
thousand
like I've been to, when
parasites.
you buy like shit fish at the supermarket and it says like fresh caught, right? But it's like how they get away with saying fresh
Yeah.
caught.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Just
farmed. It's
what
all farmed. It's all farmed in disgusting
Even
conditions. Yeah.
organic doesn't mean much these days, you know.
No, no.
It's
It's really bad. It's really bad out there. So anyone around the world, this is like for the whole world, not just Australia. If
mm,
you're eating salmon, and 99% of the time it's farmed and it's coming in from Norway, or it's coming in from Canada, or it's everywhere. These fish farms are everywhere. They are single-handedly polluting the ecosystems more than human sewage.
Oh my
And
God.
it's killing everything. It's killing everything. All the aqua sources. Yeah, it's yeah. So just that's it. I mean, that's one of the big renewable solutions, you know.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's going to
it's
stop the greenhouse effect, apparently. That's such,
yeah,
isn't it? It's just, but it's all advertising. That's the thing, we often talk about photos and books and that and the dates, and it's just someone has whatever they write on it. It's the same with food or anything. They just stick a label on it. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that someone's
Yeah.
put a label on it. They can say whatever they
Well,
want.
I used to work at McDonald's as a kid, and the boxes used to say 100% Australian beef. That was like the.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think it was a brand or something. They're called 100% Australian, but like it was
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they
They buy the brand of those.
Yeah.
They trademark that.
and
Yeah.
I
They
remember like some of the patties, like they come out like these hard brick things. They're like I
mm,
don't know what you call them, fat cakes or whatever. But then like
mm.
when you just let them like leave them on the counter and let them unfreeze, they just turn into this. It's like the most fucked up thing. There's no way
Remember
it's
those
not meat.
those cheap burgers you used to be able to buy, and they look like cardboard
And that's
almost.
what I said, fat cake. That's
Oh
what they
my God, they're
fat
barely
cakes. Yeah, you can't eat them, and you get it straight up. You're like, yeah,
just like, yeah, you've got to fry them up and make them crispy. It's the only way you can digest them, but they're just cardboard. And that was back in the 80s, man. So imagine
yeah.
what they're doing now. It's
Yep. Yep. It's a
There you go,
fascinating.
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks
I
for
mean, like
pretty
basically the
much.
food industry shows you the extent of their abilities to program and market the world. Like if you just take that one example of salmon being part of a healthy diet, that's one of those times. But this whole thing that we've been talking about all night, we are caught up in a giant marketing campaign. Our reality is a giant marketing campaign. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like
Yeah,
it's just the micro and the
worry about
macro
politics,
playing
man.
out, blah blah. We've heard it a million times. I just
Crazy.
had the biggest thunderstorm over me. I've got a massive cracking storm
right
about to
now.
appear.
Jeez,
Yeah, we're
man.
one.
What's
We're
coming?
last night, like
Yeah.
crazy thunder and lightning all night.
There's
Yeah,
shit definitely happening in Australia weather-wise. There's some weird stuff. Do you know that Brisbane had a freaking
Yeah, yeah.
um tor-
Yeah,
well,
the tornado thing, yeah.
like Kelly's just gone.
And then she's like,
She's caught mid 12. Well, do you know what? Yeah, I was in Brisbane on the weekend on Saturday, and I'm sitting down having lunch actually with one of the fasters. We're having
Mhm.
lunch in the middle of Brisbane,
Cool.
and
Cool, cool.
these golf ball like bigger than golf ball like cricket ball hailstones just start freaking doof, doof, doof. And we're
oh,
like it was the loudest noise. We didn't quite know what it was at the start, and then it looked like the sky was falling. Just these massive things, and it probably went for about 5 6 minutes, and then that was
Yeah.
it. And then it was a bit
The
of
whole of
rain for a couple of minutes, and then sun was out. But it just just isolated, dropped these huge golf balls.
jeez,
Yeah,
the
man.
whole of the Sunshine Coast Maleny got smashed with smashed with hail, massive golf balls. It looked white. It looked like
it's
winter.
actually scary. It's scary when they start coming down that big. Like these things hit you in the head,
Don't
you're
want to
in
get hit.
trouble.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I know. I remember it happening in Perth. I mean, it's probably, God, almost 10 years ago now, but like for years, there were so many cars that they just had like dents just all the way. They looked like golf balls. They just had all these indents
Yeah.
from massive
Yeah.
bloody round hailstones. It's
So there you
crazy.
go. Having a bike helmet in your car, it's probably a good idea. Just chuck it in there in case you get caught. You need to, protect your beautiful big brain.
Make stack hats great again. All right.
Maybe we should sell them. Sell them. Stack hats with
Stack hats.
some excellent artwork on it. All right, well, guys, I reckon
That's
I
two
reckon
hours
that's a
pretty
good
much.
little chat
Yeah,
on
yeah.
this random. But may it be said that Tartaria Australia, alongside Mr. Dale Holmes and Autodidactic, marked this election as significant and the beginning of, well, who knows what, but certainly something.
You've called it.
What's,
Something's going on. That's it.
yeah,
We told you.
yeah. So what's your plan, man? What's your plan? How cruisy and comfortable are you going to be through the next 4 years? What's your plan? Make sure you've got your pipe sorted. Make
Yep.
sure you're all sorted out to cruise through this timeline.
Yep. Grow some tobacco, get some plants going, stock up on your water. and get a nice porch on your house so you can sit there and, like Nero, right? Watch Rome burn.
Oh, geez, Campbell. Oh,
That's
when
a
you
nice
say it
one.
like
You
that,
just be there
I
like
know.
Nero. What?
Fuck.
We all need to get a chaise long, right?
Quick, swing it positively, Dale. Quick, swing it.
Hang on a top note, a high note.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have much more to say. I'm quite excited. I'm just always invested in the story. I just want to know where the story goes
Hmm.
to a
Same,
degree. And I also want to know,
same.
I want to know how I handle situations. And I don't know how I'm going to handle them until I'm in them. So, but I think you're right that it's definitely, we're like, it's about to shift now. It's pivotal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
mean,
It is
yeah,
so.
we
it's
get
like
So
back
be it.
to,
saying goodbye. You know, we said goodbye to like the old world like 4 years ago. It's like saying
Yeah,
goodbye to another one.
hmm,
yeah, yeah. You've had your rest. You had 4 years, 4 years to have your little rest and get your little shit together. And here we are.
here we
Yeah.
We're
are,
at the starting line.
ready for the
It's
finale.
phase two. Phase two.
Greatest show on earth.
Jeez, we should have cut a ribbon, man, or smashed some champagne. How much champagne do you guys have on hand? You might want some. You
Yeah.
might want some, and you know, you never know. The world may have shut down, and then you've got all these excellent friends of yours turn up because they need somewhere to go, and there's no champagne.
Good
But how
point.
much fun would it be if there was champagne?
Mm,
Like, you got to think about these moments of connectivity that you're going to have over the next 4 years, and how well of a good host do you want to be? What are you going to prepare for? What's your plan? I am planning to take in many
mm.
Oh, is that the thing?
masters, many
Oh,
masters, many masters.
Yep. So we checked at the door. Sorry, you voted Democrat. Get out of here.
It's going to be, yeah, I'm going to ride this well. That's my plan.
Yeah, man. They're going to be the new communes of the future. The new
Yep.
what are they called? Socratic schools, Socratic schools.
Socratic, yeah.
Mm.
All right, you two, you
All
two.
right.
I love you both. You love you both. And look, here's to
Bless.
the next phase beginning.
Oh, you got, I got nothing here. I got a bit of air.
I've got like a little bit.
Just
Yeah.
that last little bit of air.
It's like you did air
I've got a
guitar.
bottle of tea, actually. That's got my bottle of tea. Sitting there in my
All
one.
right.
All right.
Well, we will chat
Sure.
if so, if something big happens, we'll get on next week and have a look at that. But failing that, good luck to everyone, and we'll see you at our normal time slot on Friday. All right.
Yeah. Happy election, peoples.
Let's see what
Peace.
happens.
Peace.
See you
And by the way,
later.
who won the Melbourne Cup? What was the name of the horse that won the Melbourne Cup? Does anyone know?
I
I
can,
didn't even get that far.
I did not
I
get that
glanced
far
at
either.
it.
I just there might be something in that for us. I'm just curious. I'm
uh,
just curious.
100 to 1 shot, I think.
Knight's choice.
Campbell's about
Knight's choice.
night Knight's
Ooh,
choice.
yeah.
Knight's choice, as in
Name.
K-N-I.
Yep, yep.
Knight's
Tonight.
well,
Tonight's
come
choice.
on. That's a pretty
That's pretty
that's a Trump horse. That's
yeah,
a Trump horse.
it's a trump card, man. Trump card.
Anyway,
That's
all
one.
right. That's it.
All right.
We love you.
All right,
See you
Bye-bye.
next week.
Good night. We'll see you soon. Bye.